Hello. I'm excited to invite on my good friend Tara. She and I are going to be chatting about style and dress for military events and perspective, but from the military spouse perspective. Tara is a licensed style consultant, and she has a lot of style and has taught me a lot, although I still have a lot to learn. Let's see. There she is.
Hey,
Oh, yes.
Beth. I'm in my car, so hopefully it doesn't start hailing again.
I know. I noticed your video. I was like, oh, that was in the hail that we had a few minutes ago.
Yes, yes, we're getting it off and on
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Well, that's just kind of the spring here.
That is true.
So, all right, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Tara. Tara and I are dear friends. We met when our husbands were doing Naval War College together in 2012. And Tara is a mom of 5, and she is married to a man serving in the Air Force, and they've been married for 33 years, and he's been serving that time. So she has a lot of wisdom. Tara, a couple of years ago, started her own business, and she is a style consultant. And I really want to recommend you guys follow her on Instagram because Tara puts together these really great videos every day, and I learn something from them every day.
I try.
And she's a natural because Tara's previous life, she was a news broadcaster, so she's a natural on the videos.
It is not nearly as stressful to do Instagram recorded videos as live TV. So,
well, maybe not for you, but it's a little harder for some of us. But you can just tell you're very comfortable with it.
Thank you. It is a brand new skill. Your daughter actually introduced me to how to do Instagram, so I have her to thank for that.
Oh.
So she was really helpful in kind of pointing me in the right direction.
I'm sure that she could teach me a lot. All right, so Tara has a lot of things she could talk to us about, but we only have 15 minutes. So the first thing I wanted to address is just I wanted to consider what do we have coming up in the military life right now anyways. And there's a lot of change of command ceremonies and retirements that usually happen in the spring, summer months. There's just a change out. They don't always do it that way, but it tends to line up with the schools because they're trying to make it easier on the families that are moving in and moving out. So what is appropriate to wear to a change of command ceremony? And we're going to talk about a couple things. First of all, I want you to tell us what's appropriate to wear if your spouse is a part of the official party. So they're either the incoming person or the outgoing person. And then, what's appropriate to wear if you're not a part of the official ceremony, and why would that be different?
Yeah, and they could be the same,
okay,
but they could also be just a little bit different, and I'll explain why. So if it is your spouse who is coming in, going out, retiring, you're kind of part of that official party, right? So there are going to be photos taken. You're going to be called up to the front for that occasion with the photo to say thank you, whatever it is. So you become part of that cadre of official people. So it's a little bit what I tell mothers of the brides. So you're not the star of the show, but there are going to be photos taken. And you're also representing something bigger than yourself.
right.
So those are the two things that I want people to consider. So one, photos. So this is where it's very much like the mother of the bride. You're going to look
Which,
at
by the
photos.
way, Tara gives great information for that too.
That is so fun. This time of year are the mothers of the bride, so that's a lot of fun. But a change of command or a retirement ceremony holds some of those same elements. So you're going to have pictures, and you want to think of the bigger picture of the pictures, right? There's going to be a lot of blue, a lot of navy blue if you're Air Force or whatever those colors of the uniform are, whichever branch of the military, right? So if you were to wear, say, a bright neon fuchsia pink, you are going to stand out. And in those photos forevermore, people will see you and really not the rest. So that's one thing to consider is what you're wearing? Is it going to draw attention, detract from the ceremony itself? Is it going to be distracting to people? So
Okay.
really out of respect for the institution, the person who's retiring, the people who are doing the change of command, you want to blend a little bit more,
Okay.
right? You're not the star of the show. You're a supporting actor if you're the spouse, right?
Okay, so it
So,
was really wrong when I wore a red dress to my husband's change of command.
well, that has the whole, I would say no,
Okay.
actually, maybe not, because
Okay.
that has the whole patriotic, there are all kinds of subliminal messages. The red, white, and blue is very appropriate for the
Okay.
military. So it's actually a beautiful complement to that
Okay.
setting.
I
I'm
mean,
taught
it's too
no,
late now,
red
but
good. Red, you're
okay.
good. Because it really is appropriate, right? It is part of the
Yeah.
patriotism of the military. But I'm talking like, what if someone showed up in neon
Yeah,
yellow? Okay, well, everyone is going to be
for
distracted
sure.
by that person. All of
Hmm.
the attention, all the photos, it will be to that person. Just like the mother of the bride, you maybe don't want to be the star of the show. You want to blend and support in your
Right.
clothing choices as well and show respect because there is clothes speak volumes, whether we like it or not. And this is something I always talk to my teenage girls about is whether you like it or not, and my teenage girls because they cared more about clothes. I haven't yet had a boy who really cared about
Yeah.
clothes,
Yeah.
but talk to them about whether you like it or not. What you wear does send a message, and that goes for military events as well.
Hmm.
So what we wear can be distracting or it can be supporting. It can be dishonoring or it can be honoring. And we get to choose that.
Hmm.
But it does send a message.
Okay. So how would your thoughts differ if you're not a part of the official party? You're just going to be supportive of the
Mhm.
other military families.
So then you're not really a part of the official party,
Right.
right? You become an audience
Right.
member. So I almost feel like the audience members have a larger latitude than the people who are part of the
Okay.
official party, right? You're not going to really have the pictures taken in the same way. You're not going to be called up to the front. You're not going to be then distracting or not distracting in the same sense. So there's a little bit more latitude. I
Hmm.
would say the things to still consider, this is still a military ceremony, right? And
Hmm.
there is a certain amount of respect that goes along with that. So even as an audience member, very revealing clothes would be distracting to
Right.
anyone, and that just it doesn't show respect to the institution or to the people involved. So
Right.
those are more the kinds of things to consider as an audience member, and it's just the official party who you really have to consider. Is this distracting? Am I taking away or drawing attention to myself? So,
Great. Well, that is a great segue into one of the other things I want to talk about is, we get a lot of invitations to military events.
mhm.
Um, and I want to talk about the different styles, but I do want you to hit on the revealing at the formal events, because that is something my husband's last 2 years in, we went to a formal event every 3 weeks.
Yep.
And I was one of the older spouses at the time. So therefore, just because of that, I wanted to look elegant and nice, but I did not want to look sexy. I didn't think that was appropriate, because I was
Mm,
older. But I want you to hit on what is that balance there, because sometimes you do go to a military event and see I see a more skin than perhaps I would like to.
yeah.
So I want you to hit on how do we dress for the different dresses. So casual, business casual, semi-formal, informal, and then maybe at the end, if you could just hit on that.
Sure. Okay, so usually with a military event, the nice thing is that they do give you a dress code.
Yes.
So that will always be on there if it's done properly. So casual is really what you're comfortable in. Now, I would preface all of this with what you just said. It is still a military event. It's
Mhm.
still a work event. And I would say this would apply to any workplace. You're not going to go in to anything with a lot of skin showing is not fully appropriate in any workplace, military or
Mhm.
not.
Okay.
But I will say the military tends to be a little bit more conservative, so you do have that. So if it applies for all workplaces, then probably even more so in the military. But
Okay.
so we have casual. Casual is whatever you're comfortable in. Open toe is appropriate, short sleeve, even like sleeveless is appropriate.
Okay.
Um, a lot of revealing clothing is not
Okay.
appropriate, but it's what you're comfortable in. So here's what I do with casual. Well, casual especially. Sometimes you don't know if an event is like truly casual, depending on what it like. You kind of haven't, maybe it's a new place that you've not been with this group of people before, and you don't have your own sense of what is this particular group
Right.
like. Here's how I walk that line. You can always have one piece that is called high-low dressing.
Okay.
One piece of clothing that is more casual and one piece of clothing in an outfit, this is all in the same outfit, that is a little more elevated. Let me give you an example. You could wear a pair of, and I would say non-ripped jeans, not, you wouldn't want to have like huge hole ripped jeans anyway, but a pair of nicer jeans and then a nice blouse. That's kind of mixing some of that. The blouse is nice, could even be worn for a business occasion with slacks, but you're
Okay.
pairing it with a pair of jeans. So it kind of helps to straddle both sides then. You've got the jeans in case most people show up in jeans, but you've got the blouse in case it's a little bit more dressy crowd.
Mhm.
Or you could do something like a pair of slacks. Like there's a ton of really cute trousers people pair with a cute pair of tennis shoes, graphic tee,
Mhm.
and a denim jacket. That
Okay.
would totally mix the little bit more dressy with the trousers, but the
Mhm.
rest of it's very casual. So that's how I deal with those things, just so that either way the crowd goes, I can
Huh.
fit in. So
Okay. Yeah, that's a great
that's casual.
advice. I like that. The high low I've never heard of before.
It's just
Because
makes
I tend to
either.
want to dress higher. I don't want to be underdressed. But I really like that how you can kind of say, hey, I can be up or down. That's really
Yeah.
good.
And sometimes you want to consider approachability
Yeah.
too, right? Sometimes if we are
Yes.
overdressed, we do not appear as approachable to
Uh-huh.
people. So it's taking all of these subliminal messages, right? It's our clothing
Right.
really again does send a message, so that's part of that. Business casual would be the next step up. And how you want to think of this is, instead of elevating casual a bit, think of making the business a touch more casual.
Okay.
So let's maybe start then with business. Business dress would be the classic trousers and a blazer. Okay,
Okay.
that's business dress.
Hmm.
So for business casual, you don't have to wear the blazer. Instead, replace the blazer with a sweater
Okay.
or a cardigan. So
Hmm.
that would make it business casual. Or you could get rid of the cardigan, that third layer altogether, a nice blouse, a pair of trousers, you're done. So
Okay.
that's business casual. And business casual is really what most workplaces and a whole bunch of military
Yeah.
events say, that's the most common.
Hmm.
Um, you can insert a little bit more personality into that style too. So still, like, you could have a fun pair of shoes or a fun pattern. So you want to insert your personality, and that's perfectly appropriate with that dress.
Great.
So then we covered business. Business is the blazer and the
Sure.
trousers.
And then what about semi-formal?
Oh, semi-formal. So semi-formal would be like a T-length dress, a dress, knee length, anything that is not full length.
Okay.
So it's really best defined by what it is
Okay.
not. Formal would be a ball gown, full length ball gown. So semi-formal would not be full length, but anything that is not full length.
Okay. We need to wrap it up due to time, but can you really briefly touch on why, touch on briefly the first impressions of why style should matter for a military spouse? I mean, obviously, our budgets are limited. I'm not saying you need to go out and have all the brands. In fact, Tara will know this about me. I love a good bargain. And I love me some time at TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
But why do we need to care about style, especially considering that we have these budgetary issues?
So I think we have kind of touched on it. What we wear sends a message about who we are and whether or not we care about ourselves. And it's not about following the trends. It's not about having expensive clothes. In fact, some of my favorite clothes I found at consignment or thrift shops. In fact, this leather jacket I found at a thrift shop. It is one of my favorites. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to care about what you look like and to also send a message of who you are in the world. So if we show up with a old t-shirt with holes in it and a pair of sweatpants that are all stretched out, that sends a different kind of message than if you just show up in a decent pair of jeans and a blouse. And it doesn't have to be trendy, but it does send a message that we care about ourselves and we care about who we are in the world.
Right. And I would think it would have an impact on our mood as well.
That's a whole nother,
Yes.
that's called enclosed cognition. It's a whole study in psychology, but it absolutely has an effect on our mood and our productivity as well.
Right.
As
And
does
I will be
color.
posting a little bit about that later the week and some of the content because Tara was super helpful to give me some information. Well, this was great, Tara. You did an awesome job. I really
Thank
appreciate you making
you.
time for me. And I will post this and I will tag you. And so you will have the opportunity to post it to you as well.
I will do that. Thanks so much for
Okay.
having
Thanks
me,
so much,
Beth.
Tara. Appreciate you.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye.